endless skies. Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive. From mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained, I thrive, I thrive.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us here on Nomads 50 Plus. My name is Chris Kalaboukis, and it's my current mission to interview 1,000 digital nomads. That's right, folks, 1,000 digital nomads about what it's like to live that life. And everyone I've talked to so far has been incredibly happy, so I love it. And today we have a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your travels?
Hi, I'm Pam Marshall, and I'm a 64-year-old nomad in training. I'm preparing to hit the trail within the next year or so. I've done a lot of solo travels around different places, and I was planning to move somewhere and then decided that nomadism was something that spoke to me more. So I'm in the process of downsizing and getting ready to make the leap.
Nice. So have you always been interested in travel, or is this something that's relatively new for you?
Oh, from the time I can remember, my parents would get National Geographic magazine, and I would tear into that. I would read it front to back, upside down and backwards, and just dream of going places. So I've always wanted to travel, and life circumstances kept getting in the way.
That's usually what ends up happening, right? It's like eventually you get to 50 plus and you're like, okay, now I'm free. Now I can go do these things.
Exactly.
So have you decided where you wanted to go first, or like tell us a little bit about how you said you were going to move and then you decided against that and wanted to go be a nomad instead?
Yeah. Well, there's a whole lot of little things that fell into place. I've realized that, and this is a whole nother side thing, but that monetarily, I probably can't afford to live here without going into either, some kind of low-end housing or trailer or something. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And
when you say here, where is here?
New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
expensive place to live.
But even just the United States in general, to be honest, there's no place that I currently know of that I would want to move to, at least that I could afford. So I was looking at Belize, and that was a whole thing. Spent a couple years researching. I made a couple trips, learned a lot about just relocating in any way, whether it's as an expat or a nomad.
Yeah.
And I had learned from others that you should really check the place out pretty thoroughly first. And I realized that I don't do well with heat. So I figured I'd go in July. And
may as well jump right into the fire, right?
That was the end of the dream. And it was 24, which was, 2024. And that was like a really bad year anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was so miserable.
And, oh, no. Well, I hear Belize is beautiful, though.
It's a beautiful country. I would move there in a heartbeat, but the heat in the summer is not something I can tolerate. I was literally nauseous for much of the time I was there.
Oh my God, that's horrible. You don't want to live there.
Yeah, and I actually wrote something about when loving a place isn't enough. I love the place, but I couldn't live there year round. I might maybe someday I'll be there in the winter or something. I don't know. But around that same time, Hurricane Helene hit Asheville. And I went down and volunteered down there with the cleanup for a week. And I met a guy who was a nomad. And that's where I got the idea of, well, why not do that thing I wanted to do and travel instead of settling into one place. So that's really what brought me to where I am now. And the idea is that maybe I'll eventually settle somewhere and the nomading will help me find that right place. In the meantime, I just want to wander and see the places that I used to dream of as a kid.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I think that the problem of housing costs is pretty standard across the board anywhere in the United States. I think, smaller towns may be cheaper, but it's still pretty high compared to almost everywhere else in the world.
Yeah. Exactly. I got very lucky. One of the things that's making it possible for me, because my channel, as it were, the Frugal Traveler, it's frugal because I'm going to have to be going on a budget unless something changes drastically.
Right.
I'm a massage therapist, so it looks like we make great money, and if you live in certain areas, you can. But where I live, they have or they had a massage school, and we're saturated. So,
Mm,
and we're a small town. So
right.
between all that, it's really hard to really make anything more than paying the bills type living. So I don't have a lot of savings. I don't have a 401k. And the thing that's making it possible for me, though, is this house.
Hmm.
So it's been a blessing and a curse because during COVID, everybody came up from the city and bought up here, and my house price doubled in the last 5 years.
Nice.
And I was
That's
like,
great.
all right, cash out.
And then you have a
So
nice big cushion to live on as you travel the world. That's
yeah,
excellent.
it'll be I wouldn't say big. I mean, when you look at what they say, oh, you need this amount in your 401k to retire, I'm probably not even going to be there.
Mm,
But if I can take my minuscule Social Security and combine that with maybe interest from investing the money
yeah.
and volunteering and house sitting and stuff like that, I should be able to make it work.
Right, but I mean those calculations are based on living in the United States in a specific place, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think they're totally out of whack because
Yeah.
our perception, I mean, it's like living in the United States, you have a perception of how much things cost, right? Cost of living
Right.
is this, gas is this, all these things are this. But then when you leave and you can go to places where things are like 1/10 the price or 1/50th of the price or whatever. Your nest egg goes a much further,
Yeah,
much further.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's what I've been looking at. I've been reading everybody's stories for 3, 4 years now on various different platforms and groups and whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw the story of a woman she did an interview with somebody, and she's 80 something.
Mm.
She's nomading around the world on $850 a month.
Wow. And it is
Yeah.
absolutely doable.
Yeah, but she does a lot of hosteling and a lot of volunteering, going to, somebody's farm or whatever when they're looking for somebody to help with the vegetable garden or whatever, 4 hours a day. And,
Yeah.
that's how she makes it work.
Yeah. No, I find that is, I mean, a lot of people who I've interviewed, they do house sitting. They do, like you said, they do chores and jobs in return for room and board and things like that. So there are ways of doing it very inexpensively all over the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I do plan to be volunteering also with some NGOs. One specific one is All Hands and Heart. I came across a different one in North Carolina, which was crisis. It's not crisis relief, anyway, something Crisis Relief International, CRI.
Mhm.
And really loved working with them, but they are more religious based, and I'm an atheist. And I love what they were doing. They were amazing people, but prayer circles are not something I want to be including in my day.
Right.
And I know there are other options. So the one that appeals to me is All Hands and Hearts. They started during the after the Indonesian tsunami.
Hmm. Are
And
they're global as well?
yes, so they go around the world. They went down to Jamaica after they got hammered recently,
Hmm.
and they've been the Hawaii fires, the Asheville,
Wow.
things like that. So they can be all over the world, and they have ongoing things also with rebuilding places maybe that are still recovering, and also some places where they just need more schools. So there's always something happening.
So how does that work for a digital nomad? Do you actually get room and board and other things in return for
Yeah. So
the work?
in my understanding with this one is I think we would probably be doing 8 hour days, 5 days a week, not the six, 4 to 4 or whatever that you do on the others. But yeah, you get your cot and your or whatever it is, wherever it is that they're putting you up. And I believe you bring your own sheets and things like that, and you get fed. And I
Nice.
think every like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that, they kick you out for a week. They don't want you to burn out, which I think is amazing.
Well, if you
Um,
think about it, I mean, we're so sort of attuned to the, oh, you've got to have a 2,000 square foot house. You got to have this much land. You got to have this. You got to have this job. You got to have like, human beings don't necessarily need to live that way. There's lots of ways to live that are much less expensive and less burdensome per person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what I found, because I volunteered initially after Irene up in the Catskills. And then when Asheville got hit, I had to go down because in my childhood, we used to go to the Grandfather Mountain Highland Games, which is right near there. So I had a lot of really great childhood memories, and it broke my heart when I saw the pictures.
Is that one where they throw the giant telephone poles? That kind of Highland Games?
They're crossing the Caber, and I used to do Scottish dancing. And I actually was going to learn the bagpipes, but the guy moved.
Nice. That must be really hard, the bagpipes. That seems like a really difficult instrument to master.
Yeah, they start you on a thing called a chanter, which looks more like a recorder or something like that. It's just basically a mouthpiece and the bit that you do down on the side here.
Right.
So you learn it that way, and then you have to learn how to coordinate and I don't think it would be hard to coordinate the rest, because once you got the bag itself full, it's just a matter of filling it while you're playing. So you have to find a way to coordinate your breath work with your playing. I'm
totally uncoordinated, so that wouldn't work for me. It's impossible.
Absolutely.
Did you actually toss any cabers, or is that for like the big burly guys?
They actually no. Well, I mean, I've never seen them do like a smaller one for women, but I'm sure there are women out there doing it.
Yeah.
But you do have to be pretty burly to be able to do it. You have to have a good base.
Yeah, because those things weigh a ton. They weigh a ton.
Yeah, exactly. And it's literally like just balancing it just right, running a few steps and tossing.
Nice.
But yeah.
I know, I've seen it happen. I'm like, there's no way I can do that. That's impossible. No. I could barely get it off the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a hernia waiting to happen.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, so yeah, I had a lot of memories there. And when I saw it, I was like, I have to go. So I got friends to donate stuff and some money, and I went down and was helping around. I got to stay with another dancer. I do a style of dance called West Coast Swing. So I stayed with an instructor down there. They kind of got me started because they were doing a lot to help. And then I just started wandering around, finding places that needed help.
Nice. So you're like a dancer and a massage therapist. There's lots of things that you can do while you're moving. It's like you can take your business with you wherever you happen to go.
To some degree, I do have to be careful, like as a massage therapist, just because you have to have work permits in most places, and they wouldn't want me taking that job from a local.
True.
Now, I might be able to do something like one thing I'm considering doing. One of my specialties is actually feet, which is something that came late in my practice, mostly because I was getting ready, preparing for, and then did one of the Caminos, the Portuguese Camino. And that really has helped me learn a lot about how much incorrect information there is about shoes out there and things like that. So I actually started working with this company called the Foot Collective, and I am a provider for them, and I'm going through some training. And so I'm thinking I can actually they have a lot of free exercises for strengthening your feet. And so I'm thinking I can eventually do that more in this kind of a situation, work with somebody to say, have them walk for me away from the camera and see what I see, and then say, okay, this is the exercises I think will help you, and this is the kind of shoe I think could help you. And, so I might be able to do that kind of coaching, because that's legit. Any place.
It's like a foot consultant. I've never heard of that before. That's interesting. And we all need it though, because we're all walking, and we're all walking with the incorrect shoes. And I mean, I remember when Toms came out ages ago, and it's like, great idea, but those things have zero support. And I can see how many podiatrists are going, oh, I love those things. It's going to bring me so many customers.
I'm going to just do a quick schooling here, and then we'll get back to the.
Let's hear it.
Most people should not need support. If you look at cultures where shoes are not part of their culture, they don't need support.
Right. But don't they also not walk on concrete all day long like we do?
Well, no, but they're running across the plains where there's rocks and thorns and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And very uneven ground. The thing is, we have trained our feet with modern shoes to go from having a wider base to having this squished in thing, which when you see people have bunions,
Oh
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah, no, I have one too, and I
That's
know
like
exactly what you're talking about.
and a lot of that is caused by the shoes being like a soft cast on your foot
Right.
and not allowing things to move. So, like that idea that I need an arch support, your arch is meant to go flatten as you walk,
Hmm.
and it absorbs some of the shock, transfers it supposedly to the big toe if you don't have a bunion, and then the big toe is what you're supposed to push off with.
Right. Yeah, and I
A
mean,
lot of
I completely agree with that, and I think people should go
yeah,
barefoot more. I'm just thinking about the
absolutely.
terrain, right? It's like because I have those
Yeah,
Vibram shoes, they're completely the
yeah,
ones without the like foot socks, and
yes,
I used to use those when I went running, and perfectly great on trails. But as soon as you get to the concrete, it's like, wait a minute, human feet are not
yeah.
supposed to be walking on these things.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to think about something like concrete, maybe having something with a little bit of cushion,
Mm.
but not too much. Like a lot of people love their Hokas, but it has like that much cushion.
Yeah, it's ridiculous
It's
amounts
like
of cushion.
yeah, and the thing is, what do they tell you that it's supposed to help you with your bone density?
Mm.
The impact of walking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So when you wear a Hoka, you are now fixing you're messing up something else.
right. Yeah,
So,
you're right.
this is what I want to be able to teach people. So this is something I could do. Massage, maybe or maybe not, depends. Um, the other thing is a dance. I might be able to, just quietly help instruct here and there if I don't make a big deal of it. So
Hmm.
that's another thing I might be able to do. The only problem is as an older person getting into the dance, it was harder for me to advance through the competitive ranks.
Right.
So I don't have that for people to say, oh, she's an advanced dancer, she can teach.
Hmm.
But I do, it's one thing I pat myself on the back for. I know I'm a good teacher. So for especially for beginners and social dancers.
Yeah. So you do have skills that you can transfer and augment your income as time
Yes,
goes by.
there's those things, and the writing now on Substack. I'm hoping to eventually monetize that and
Hmm.
find some ways that I can take what I've learned when I'm learning and helping people with that.
Yeah.
So
You
I'll
should create
probably be
another
doing that.
Substack specifically for feet. I'd sign up for that in a second.
It could go that way. I did. I don't know if you saw that I did the article. Feet don't fail me now.
Yes.
Um,
Very good.
and that was basically an introduction to what I'm eventually going to be having more conversations around. So I may keep it part of that because I think a lot of nomads could use the information anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, we're always
Yeah,
walking. Absolutely.
exactly.
So you went to Belize and you said, "Oh, it's too hot. I'm coming back. I'm not going.
Yeah,
I'm not going to live here." And they do say that if you're thinking about living somewhere, you should live there for at least a year so you can get it all year round. But you
yeah,
went at the perfect time to test that
yeah.
specific water.
What I've heard is at least 6 months,
Yeah.
and I think if you're going to do a smaller window, then you want to go during the time of the thing that concerns you the most.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're not going to go to Belize, where are you thinking about going first? Like, where's your first destination?
Probably back to Portugal. I
Mm.
fell in love with it during the Camino. It's a place I will have on my potential settling places.
Hmm.
Um, a lot will depend, of course, how they keep handling their visas and all that because they're doing a lot of changes.
Yeah.
I also have a daughter that lives in the UK, so I will probably pop over to see her.
Hmm.
So right now it's going to start up in more of Europe. I've been offered a potential place to stay in Poland.
Oh, nice.
And,
That's
and I have
great.
another son that lives there. So, I'd probably play around there for a little bit, jump in and out of the Shenzhen for, maybe go out of the Shenzhen for 3 months, explore a little bit, go back in, and then maybe start heading more towards, the more Asian end of the world, everything
Yeah.
from Bali to Taiwan and that kind of stuff.
So start at this end and then keep rolling around that way.
Yeah.
Would you say you're a slow traveler or a fast
I
traveler?
want to travel. Yeah, that's one way to keep the expenses down.
Mm.
If you go to a place and rent for at least a month, you're going to get a much better rate than you're going
Yeah.
to get, for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You
And there's
know
no reason for you to rush through it either. I mean, there's
exactly.
nothing.
I don't want. Yeah, and that's another thing I just wrote about is like tourism versus traveling. And for me, a traveler goes a little slower because we're not worried about the Kodak moment.
Yeah.
Um,
Or getting back to a job that you might not like. right?
Exactly, but it's also the traveling like from one destination to another every day. You're in a different destination. We know it's Tuesday because we're in Paris.
Yes.
That's not my kind of travel. I like to feel the rhythm of a place and get to know the people, get to know a little something about the culture, and get the vibe of a place. So I don't like to go to any place for less than 2 weeks.
So when you were in Portugal, where did you stay and how long were you there for?
Well, this was another interesting thing going back to the whole dance and everything. I went to Porto first because I was going from Porto to Santiago de Compostela up in
Hmm.
Spain. That was 200 miles in 2 weeks. And I was going to leave at this particular weekend, but I hadn't booked my plane ticket. And I knew that there was a dance group there, a West Coast Swing dance group. And just by chance, before I got to do the ticket, they announced they were bringing a pro in from the United States, from California,
Oh man.
that I really wanted to study under, but couldn't because she's so far away. And she was going to be there that weekend. So I actually
Nice.
booked, I added 4 days to my trip.
Perfect.
Went and danced for a few days, threw my backpack on my back, and started walking.
Wow. So how long did it take you to get there?
To get, what do you mean?
Well, you said you were walking the entire way?
Oh,
No.
yeah. So I flew into Porto. I stayed with one of the dancers during the dance thing. So that was like 3 nights or something like that. And then I walked from Porto up to Santiago de Compostela, and I stayed in albergues, which are like a hostel.
Nice. Nice. And is that where you're planning on going back to? That particular area or?
I would probably go somewhere between Porto and Lisbon.
Hmm.
I got to find out the practicalities of like bus routes and stuff like that. Both places have a dance community, so if I'm in the middle, I'll only have about an hour's journey in each direction.
Well, that's good.
If I understand the distances correctly. Um, and I really like being more. I don't like being in the big tourist cities. I much prefer being in a quieter place.
Yeah.
And I would like to be near the ocean, so it'd be much more affordable in that area for me. So the biggest thing for me will be transport.
Yeah. Well, I've heard Lisbon is getting overrun with digital nomads, though.
Yeah, and
Was it like
that's
that when
what
you
I
were
don't
there?
want. Yeah,
Was
well,
it
I
like
didn't get
that?
to Lisbon.
Oh, you didn't go to
I didn't
Lisbon
get
at
to
all,
Lisbon.
so you haven't seen it.
No. So that's what I'm saying. I'd like to be sort of between both. I can go and play in Lisbon for a day or so and then go back.
Right.
Yeah,
And like, oh, this is too crowded. I'm go back.
exactly. Too many Americans. Bye.
I know, right? I didn't come here to see other Americans. Come on.
That's right. Exactly.
That's not why I'm here. It just reminded me of the time when I went to see. I was at the Louvre a couple of years ago, and there's the Mona Lisa, and it's like, I don't want to take a picture of the Mona Lisa. I want to take a picture of the crowds around the Mona Lisa because it's people don't understand how bad it is when
Yeah.
you're in these places.
You have to really love that thing to want to go stand in that.
Yeah, and there's people who just like go and take a picture and go, and it's like,
Yeah.
experience.
What-
There's a million other pieces in here that you can look
Yeah.
at, and yet you're only
Exactly.
here for that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying the difference between that, like how I classify the difference between tourism and traveling.
Right.
Is that people who are doing the tourism model, they have agendas and lists of things they want to do, and they never really just stop and take a breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whereas travelers, to me, are more they want to leave a place, with a minimal footprint,
Hmm.
and have as minimal impact on those places. So
but
that's
you're living there. You're not just passing through.
Exactly, and that's how
Yeah.
I want to travel.
Yeah. And then from there you're going to go to the UK, and then you're going to slowly make your way across Europe to
And
Asia.
the other dream bucket list thing, if I can make it happen, is going to Mongolia.
Hmm. Wow.
And doing a tour through there. That's one of the things that will not be frugal, I'm sure. I'll be saving for that one. But
Mongolia
like going,
is expensive?
well, I'm just thinking more of just, first of all, getting there, but also I'm probably going to have to do more of a tour package.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't seen anybody that's just done it on their own.
Mm.
So I don't know what the logistics are in that, and if that's possible. But I did see somebody that was posting on Substack about their Mongolian journey recently, and it was fascinating. And I've always had this thing. I want to see the when they do the golden eagles, where they do the hunting with the golden eagles, and then they have the competitions around that. That
Wow.
just seems fascinating. That and just like seeing how they build their they don't call them yurts, but their mobile homes,
Right.
as it were. And just seeing that simplicity side of life and how little they live with.
So are you thinking about being there any particular time of year, or that plan hasn't formulated yet?
I believe to do the golden eagle things, they has to be at least the beginning of winter. That looks like when they do those things, but I haven't, again gone into depth in that. So, but at the same time, I kind of would like be there in the summer. So I may just try to catch that shoulder season.
Right.
Get there. If I could do a whole month there, then I might be able to enjoy some of the nicer weather as it starts to cool off.
That's also, so like later this year. So you're planning on being there sometime later this year then, basically.
Oh no. That's on the ones I've taken off. I mean, I'm in the process right now of selling a bunch of my stuff and getting rid of stuff and downsizing all that. And the plan, best laid plans for mice and men right now, but the plan is to sell my house early next year and then take the leap then. However, I'm going to be talking to real estate agents because with the current shenanigans that's going on in this country, I'm a little concerned that we could have a major dip coming, and that could nix my plans. So my daughter lives in my basement, and she's on notice. The house could go on the market next week if if it really looks bad. And she totally understands because she's in the opposite place. She can't afford a place.
Yeah,
so
my kids are in the same boat.
So we're hoping we can kind of both win. If I can get out from under before any kind of dip, and then maybe she can take advantage of something once I'm gone. So we're working out things. I'm going to try to give her a little bit of help, what I tell, just to have something to help her get something.
Yeah, that's good. So what about your friends and family? Have you told them all that you're going to do this, and what are their thoughts?
The only family I have right here is my daughter. I took care of my father for 5 years, but he passed a couple of years ago, and I don't have any other brothers or sisters. I have one other daughter who lives in the UK, and that's it.
And they all think you're great for doing this. Like nobody's telling you are you nuts? Are you nuts?
The daughter that lives here thinks it's great, and she's like, certainly not discouraging me. She like you got to do what you want to do. The other one, I think, thinks mom's lost her mind, but she also said I lost my mind when I said I was going to walk 200 miles in 2 weeks, and when I did it, she was like, okay. So
maybe she hasn't lost her mind.
Yeah, exactly. Because I explained to her, I said, there's people doing this who are 10, 15 years older than me. And I've got good knees and hips. So, I saw people who were, let's just say they don't look like your average hiker.
Right.
And they were all out there doing it. And that was the wonderful thing about that experience, about, like the Caminos, if you're wanting to kind of get outside your comfort zone, it's a great way to do it. Because you really are traveling with a minimum amount of clothing. And I actually booked ahead. I kind of wish I hadn't, but it was a learning experience. And, it's like how getting uncomfortable with like just trusting that you'll be able to get a bed when you get there.
Right.
When you get to your destination, and what do you have to do? Okay, maybe I have to get up earlier in the morning to make sure I get there early enough to get a bed.
Right.
Or do I go on?
It's exciting, isn't it? It's like not knowing what's going to happen next.
Exactly, and I'm having to retrain my brain to be okay with that.
Yeah. Were you normally a planner? Like, do you plan things ahead of time and then?
Yep. Well, I am and I'm not. Like, I'm also very good at winging things, and I'm very good at pivoting. But I do like to be as informed as I can before I do something. And I went on this wanting to be able to enjoy it, and have it both as kind of a training ground and also, like, I wouldn't say a proving ground, but a place where I could find out where my discomfort zones were outside of normal
Smart.
travel. And how, like, I mostly took Ubers initially when I needed to use some kind of transport. And then I finally got brave enough to try to navigate the train system when I was going back to the airport to fly home.
Right.
And that's its own little, like, side thing where the Google took me to the wrong place.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, it does that.
But, like, so I was like, okay, now what? And I found this old guy, didn't speak a lick of English, not one word. And I just went, Metro? And he smiled and he goes, and he's talking away, but he's going to go down and then go down there and then go left. And so it was like sign language. And he got me about 80% of the way there, and
Wow.
I was like, well, that's great. Like, I can figure it out with, and that's like one of the things I put in another post that I did about, you can get by. You want to learn enough of the language, like the basics, but
Sure.
it's amazing how either you do sign language or maybe somebody that speaks English will come up and say, you look lost. Can I help you? People are so friendly when you're out there.
Yeah. Well, that's what I found is that, in fact, I ask this question of everybody, like, aren't you worried about whatever, not knowing the language in the country that you're
Yeah.
in? And nobody's ever had a problem. Like, some people
Yeah.
who are like, they learn English. I mean, they know English and it gets them by. They don't necessarily
Yeah.
need to learn anything, but they
Well,
want to.
And we are fortunate that, as English speakers, that is the most common second language.
Yeah.
So it does help that many countries teach their kids at least some basic English. So
That's right.
so certainly a lot of the younger people in a lot of countries, can speak the language. But I see stories all the time. Somebody was somewhere, it was in Japan or something, and was on their own. And these two Japanese ladies came up and asked her if she was okay. And then they ended up walking together, and they knew about the Japanese ladies probably knew 10 words in English or something like that. And yet they still managed through sign language and everything else to, like, oh, look at that over there. And,
Yeah.
oh, and isn't that beautiful? And ways to just say, oh, it's, just using sign language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
What about healthcare? Have you thought about that at all yet? Or I know it's a little ways off, but
That's a little ways off. But I have, again, because I've been reading a lot for the last few years, I do know that, there's different options for travel care.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to find the right one. I'm just getting ready to be on Medicaid starting in July.
Right.
Not Medicaid, Medicare.
Medicare. Yeah.
So I actually have to navigate that first.
Oh, good luck. That's probably harder than everything.
Exactly. But yeah, so that is a concern, especially seeing that a lot of places don't cover you after 70 and things like that. But, I will take out some kind of, my main thing is big stuff going wrong and being able to get me or me alive or my body otherwise back home.
Yeah.
To make it easy.
A lot of others
family.
I've talked to have the same type of insurance.
Yeah.
They typically do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I figure out what I'm going to do too is I'm going to put a little bit aside in an account with my daughter's name on it. So that if worst comes to worst, I should have enough in that account if they need to repatriate me and I can't.
Right.
If I can't organize it because of whatever happens, that they still have the ability to get me, where I need to be.
Yeah, that's good thinking. So you were mentioning that you got the dancing, you've got the foot thing, you've got you may or may not be able to do massage therapy, and then you have Substack. So what are you thinking about doing online? I mean, do you have any thoughts about where your online presence is going to go?
Well, I'm really enjoying with Substack writing about my experience now preparing to be a nomad.
Right.
So I will keep bringing that back in as I'm, even once I'm on the road, I'll say, this is where I'm at, but I learned about this part, back here during this experience or something like that. So I'll keep blending that in.
Right.
And my thing on Substack is to start helping people to realize that they don't have to buy into the crap that, you're too old there are going to be people who unfortunately will not have enough money to make it happen, or at least not without doing all volunteering.
Yeah, exactly.
But even then, I mean, look at like I say, the lady doing $850 a month.
Yeah. No,
Most of us are,
it's like I've talked to people who have oodles of money, and I've talked to people who have nothing, and they're all doing amazingly well because
yeah,
there are ways of doing it. And I think getting over that preconception of how expensive things are from
yeah,
here, because we get that. We totally get that. We said, we can't imagine living in an apartment for $200 a month or paying for an apartment
yeah,
for $200 a month. But it's
exactly.
happening all over the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, is we are so used to the tourism model where most people buy a package.
Yeah.
And even if they're not buying a package, so they get their flight, but then they book the hotel that they stay in.
Yeah.
And they don't go anywhere else.
Yeah. And then that's $500 a night or some insane number.
Exactly. That place is a minimum 150 a night, where they're staying, and like say up to 500 or whatever. And that I hear people talking like that, and I'm like,
I know you're crazy. If you're a tourist, maybe. I mean, that works as a tourist, I guess. But other than that, well, let me ask you something. Are you more of an extrovert or an introvert?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Because, again, another thing I wrote about, because I've been discovering all kinds of things about me and all kinds of stuff as I've been going into a lot of my writing. I consider myself to be a new definition that's in the personality. They come out with one called autrovert.
Autrovert. I haven't heard that one. I've heard ambivert, but I haven't heard autrovert.
So ambivert is sort of in between, the extrovert introvert. And us autrovert, we're more like we can navigate through people in crowds and be in groups and things like that, but we still feel like we're on the outside.
That might be me. I got to look into that.
I'll send you some stuff.
Please.
It's amazing. I was reading, like I read two different things on it, and on both I'm going check, 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 check.
That sounds really, really, really
we make
true.
Great writers, great teachers, because we're observers.
We always feel like we're on the outside looking in, no matter where we are.
Yes. Yeah, and
God, I've always felt like that.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah. So like if we go to say a big shindig and there's people standing around talking or whatever, we will often work the room going from group to group until we run into somebody who's having a conversation of substance.
Yes. Oh my God, this is me. It's like, so much small talk. Where's the big talk? I'm looking for the big talk, not the small talk.
Exactly. There's that. I'm trying to think of some of the other things that went with it. And I think also I'm guessing that a lot of nomads, the ones who are successful nomads, are probably introverts. Because we're okay not following the crowd.
Yeah. But you can, it's kind of like you can be in the crowd, but you're not in the crowd. It's,
but we also like the other thing I think too, that was another thing, is like that my anti-tourism thing. First of all, everybody went to Twitter, everybody went to various different social media things. This is the first one I've kind of jumped onto it closer to the beginning of the wave, as it were.
Yeah.
And the others I've often put my toe in and went, no.
Yeah. Like I haven't used Facebook in like forever.
Well, I use Facebook only because the dance stuff, and that's where all of our events are listed. Yeah. At least easily accessible.
Yeah.
So I will always have Facebook, but I tell you, Substack, I keep going. I'll be on Facebook and I start feeling my blood pressure going up. Yeah. And I'm like, and I'm going over to Substack. Exactly.
All those other places are like that. It's funny how everyone else is. And the other thing I like about it is that you don't have to be on all the time. I feel like if you're not on all the other networks all the time, then you slowly disappear into invisibility. Whereas with Substack, you can go on, and then you can go away for a couple of days, and you can come back, and you're still in good shape. It's not like you haven't disappeared.
Yeah, and the other thing is like TV programs. You know, it took me forever to figure out when somebody has a picture that has GOT, that it's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I don't watch all the stuff that everybody's like the latest thing.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
anything, when somebody's like, oh, you got to watch this, I'm like, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not going to be something I want to
There's
watch.
really not a lot worth watching. It's really not a lot
Yeah.
worth watching.
But yet there are people that flock to certain things, and that's the one thing with the introverts is that we tend to go in the other direction when everybody's going that direction.
Yeah, we look at it with disdain. We're like, oh, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah, it's just not a thing that turns us on.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're very happy going back to the outside again.
Yeah, it's like when people ask those things where you go, oh, tell us 3 of these things, like what your favorite music is, what your favorite TV show is, what's your favorite thing. And mine are always these obscure things that nobody's ever heard of. And they're like,
Yes.
what is that?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it sounds like you're in the introvert club.
Oh, I'm definitely going to have to check that out. But that makes it really useful then, because it's like you said, you can play both, you can do both things at the same time. But isn't there like a little core of loneliness in that though?
Oh, like I say, I've always felt that I never fit in.
Mm,
And the thing is, I don't know how much of it is my, as they call it, the inner saboteur,
right.
you know, telling me this kind of thing, and how much. But I've never had a big group of friends. In fact, I don't have anybody that I call a best friend right now.
Mm, same.
I had somebody, you know, but the other thing kind of pushed me towards Nomad is I had a friend that died about 2 years ago, who's the same age as me, does West Coast Swing, is a massage therapist, probably fitter than me, and she just sat down on her bathroom floor and died.
Oh no, that's terrible.
And you know, and she was somebody that I was starting to really develop that kind of relationship that I felt was a good, you know, fit for me.
Wow.
And it was just heartbreaking, and that was one of the things also that pushed me towards going Nomad.
Yeah.
It's like, if this is the time I want to do it, this is the time to do it.
Yeah, now's the time. Now's the time.
Yeah.
So it was like a sign.
I want to at least, you know, do a little bit before I sit down on the floor and don't get up again. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're too heavy. Let's do something else.
I know. It is, you know, but the thing is, it was just a good wake up call.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
I think we all need those, because we all get stuck in our lives doing the same thing over and over, day after day. And before you realize it, you look back and you're like, 3 years have passed, 10 years have passed, 20 years have passed, and you have done the exact same thing, and you haven't moved, you haven't changed, nothing's different. And I think a lot of us, almost everybody, needs something, and typically it has to be some kind of negative stimulus, right? If it's not a negative stimulus, it doesn't kick you out of your comfort zone.
Exactly. You know, and I just, you know, had something else I came across. It was like, you know, are you actually living, or are you just surviving to pay bills?
Mm.
That
Yeah.
wasn't exactly it, but it was, you know, that's what it basically said. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Can I say it depends on the day?
Yeah. But
Today
you
I'm
know,
surviving. Tomorrow I'm living. Yes.
yeah, exactly. But my plan is to get rid of the things that are keeping me in survival mode,
Right.
because
So-
because it's very clear to me that on my Social Security, which is quite small, because first of all, I lived in England for 8 years, and then I was a stay-at-home mom because of childcare costs.
That's not fair.
I know it's not fair, because we get screwed, because even though I get part of my ex-husband's, it's still, I think, only 50%.
Yeah, that's not fair at all.
So it barely pays my property taxes.
Mm.
And that was another wake-up call. It's like, I can't afford to live in this house. I love my house, but I can't afford to live here.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You
we
know?
can't afford to live in this country most of the time. I mean, I live in a very high-priced area, but I know people, I mean, my kids, if they ever want to own anything, they're going to have to leave. There's no way, there's no possible way they can live here, even at a really good salary. You need at least 2 or 3 salaries combined to be able to afford anything, even the smallest entry-level home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, you know, that's another one of those things that nudged me into the Nomad, you know, considering nomadism.
There might be actually a whole generations of nomads coming soon who are thinking the same thing. They're like, I'm not going to stay here. It's too expensive for me. I don't need too many things.
And the
I mean more.
politics are going on, and I'm not saying either side, it's both sides, but the fact is Belize has people that are, you know, and here and even Canada who are just, they don't like their politics anymore.
Yeah.
And they want, because Belize is more like the Wild West to some degree in some areas. There's a lot of areas where, you're in the middle of nowhere and you can kind of get away with doing whatever you want,
Right.
at least up to a point. And so it has attracted some people who are kind of anti-establishment,
Right.
and anti-politics or whatever. So there's going to be those people, but I think also just right now the uncertainty in this country. There's a lot of people I'm seeing online who are like, and a lot of them are like, I want to leave. And the thing is, the only thing that's keeping a lot of them is their family.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And maybe their community, but especially family.
No,
and they're like, I would be out in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, it was like I wrote a couple articles about this earlier on about how sometimes, a lot of times, even if you want to change yourself, even if you want to do something different, I mean, you could decide tomorrow to be a completely different person if you wanted to, just like that. But then sort of like the web of everybody is like, oh my God, why are you acting like this? You're completely different.
So weird. You've gotten weird.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Go back to the way you were. We liked you like that.
Exactly. I will say my friends, I think, are quite encouraging for the most part.
That's good.
I haven't had anybody tell me I'm crazy yet.
Excellent. It's coming soon, though.
It's coming. I think some of them, they've seen me just pack my car up and go down to Asheville and things like that.
Yeah.
And they just saw me like do the Camino. In fact, I was thinking about writing, and then when I did the Camino, I was posting photos with a little thing about my day each day. Yeah. And I got 50 people by the end of that who, like, everything else I post, at best, maybe I'll get 10, interactions of some form, liking it or whatever. This thing, I had about 50 people that were starting to log on every day or looking at, like finding my post.
Nice.
And I was like, okay. So there's definitely there's people who want to see this thing happening.
Yeah.
I do have one friend who said, you know what, I didn't think I could ever do anything like that. But I actually went on, looked up the Caminos and found this one that's called like Slow Walkers on the Camino. So they're the ones that aren't doing the set stages. So instead of doing the 12 to 14 mile a day average, they might do 5.
Yeah.
And they'll just take longer. And so there's a whole support group, on Facebook for those people. And she says, I'm actually seriously considering it now.
I love it. Well, that's the ideal thing, is that this one thing about the show is that I'm trying to get people, there's so many, in any audience, there's the tiny group of people who do it. And then there's a huge amount of people who aspire to do it.
Yeah.
And if I could just get one person from the huge amount of people to actually do it, then I'd be happy with that. More than one, even better. But
yeah, absolutely.
Just get those people to.
I've heard that about a lot of things, even when I'm having political discussions, when people are like, why do you bother? And it's like, because I'm not even necessarily trying to change the mind of the person I'm talking to.
Yeah.
There could be 500 other people that read this post, and if one of them just goes, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've done my job.
Yep. As long as spur them into action.
Well, I don't even have to change their mind. Just that, I didn't know that.
Exactly. Make them think.
Yeah.
So is that going to be
That's why we're writers.
Yes. So is that going to be the thrust of your Substack going forward? Is just your like travel log of things you're going to be doing? Is that going to be most of it?
Right now, it's all the things that I'm thinking of, that I'm experiencing, the getting rid of this stuff. Like I did 3 different posts just to do with getting rid of stuff. One was just basic, like looking at how much you may want to get rid of and all that. Right. One looking at how to get rid of it, and one was more of that unseen burden of all the shit we have in our place.
I know that's the one I want to actually drill into a little bit. I mean, are you finding that it's difficult to get rid of stuff, or are you finding that it's like a relief to get rid of stuff?
Right now, it's mostly relief, in part because I'm getting rid of the stuff that's been sitting around doing nothing.
Right.
gathering dust, or it's in front of the thing I really need, which
Yes.
is what that burden thing that I talk about is like. It's like I said, people can come in my house and they go, "You're really well organized."
Hmm.
They don't see my closets.
No. Or the garage, right? No garage.
This
Do not go in
organization
there.
is the office door is shut, the closets are shut, the shed door is shut. It's an illusion.
That's right. Do not go
And
into
so,
those rooms.
and then you go into the shed and you need the box, but the box is behind 10 other things that are piled in front of it.
Yes.
And then the frustration and the anger I've felt many times, like this should be a 2-minute thing, and it's taken me 20 minutes just to get to this thing.
Yeah. And then what is that
And
stuff in your way? I mean, why is
yeah,
it even there?
exactly. It's stuff that
Yeah.
you haven't looked at either.
Yeah.
You're just moving that stuff you haven't looked at to a different place to not look at it. um, and people we'll buy clothes, say a dress that's really beautiful. We got it on sale,
Hmm.
and it still has a tag on it. It's been back in the closet for 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I
exactly. And
haven't
it
had
shows up at Goodwill then. That's what you see at Goodwill. Well, it's
I haven't
part of
had
our
the event.
society. Our society is like that, right? We're very materialistic. We really need to step
Absolutely.
away from that.
Yeah. So right now it's mostly relief because right now it's the easier stuff.
Mm.
Um, I will. I don't think I'm going to go to where I get rid of absolutely everything. I know I see a lot of people who've gotten rid of every single scrap of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I will probably keep a certain amount of things that are memories and photos and stuff, so that if I do come back, I have something that I can put up on the walls.
Or if you settle somewhere and you decide you want to have those
or
things
I
shipped
can
there.
box those boxes up, and exactly. So the things that I probably would want to pass on to my kids, but I'm not ready to, and things like that. I'll probably keep a bed that. I'm probably going to keep my bedroom set simply because it was very expensive. I got it on a very good sale,
Mm.
and I couldn't afford to replace it, or I might be able to by that point, because I'm going to be looking at fewer years for the amount of money I've got left.
Right.
But again, it's a nice set. So right now I'm considering keeping that at least for a year until I make sure that the Nomad thing is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would say to people is if you're just getting ready to take off, if you are happy to get rid of everything, get rid of it.
Mm.
But I would say maybe have a storage unit for the first year, and anything that you're not sure about, put it there, and then come back after a year. And if you're like, we're just going to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing
further.
about sort of the reversibility of it, because a
Yeah.
lot of people think, oh, she's going to go off and become a digital nomad. I'm never going to see her again. That's done. It's like, no, not necessarily. You might decide to stay in Portugal. You might decide to stay somewhere else. You might decide to come back here. You might, there's all sort of, like, the decision is not irreversible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm considering is I will be selling the house. I could rent this for a very nice amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But this house has 3/4 of an acre. So, being able to pay for that upkeep, or hoping that the people that take it on keep it up.
Right.
I've rented in the past, and, they usually don't do it quite the way you want it done.
Yep.
And
plus,
also
it's
we
the
have
burden of remembering that it's still.
it. And the other thing is we have a water double in this house. If anything breaks, it's water.
Mm-hmm.
And water is one of the worst things. Maybe electricity would be the worst because of fire, but water is right behind it with the amount of damage it can do.
Right.
And I don't want to be thousands of miles away and get a call that we had another main line break like we had.
Well, you get a lot of storms where you are, right? I mean, are you in the middle of a snowstorm right now, or?
Well, actually, I don't know if it was obvious when I first came on, but I had been out snow blowing, and then I was like, I got to get back in, and came running in, and then struggled to find the link. But yeah, so yeah, we got minimum 18 inches. I haven't actually gone out with the stick yet, but it's somewhere between 18 and 24 inches.
Oh my God. So do not settle anywhere where there's that much snow.
Last night I went out and snowblowed, and I'm glad I did because I don't think the snow. Well, it would have taken a long time to move it today.
Wow.
If I could. Yeah.
I'm assuming you're never going to want to settle anywhere like this again. where the weather's
Well,
like
this is
that?
the worst year we've had since I've been here, but I have been in other years, in other areas in this area where we've had this, and it's one of those El Nino things, evidently, that we're getting pounded because of the cold, dry air coming down, meeting the snow and making it fluffy snow.
Yeah.
So, and fluffy snow gets, you can take 1 inch of water and and the snow can be, 2 inches, high, and because it's more, sort of soggy, wet flakes. And
Right.
then it can be, several inches or even maybe a foot. I don't know what the highest is you can get, but listening to we have a local meteorologist who explains it very well. And he was basically saying that it's so dry that initially it would look like we should have snow, but we didn't because it was so dry. The rain was actually drying on the way through, but once it gets to a certain point, it starts freezing or something,
Right.
and that's when it really takes off. And he was saying that's why it's going to be so heavy, because it wasn't coming down like, it was all very small flakes. It's one of those big fluffy, beautiful, snow scene flakes, and they look like nothing, but by gosh, they add up.
Oh yeah.
Which is one of the things, by the way, it's mildly political thing. It makes me laugh on either side when somebody calls somebody a snowflake, because it's like, have you seen what a snowflake can do? When they join
They don't know
together,
how much damage they can do.
when a bunch of snowflakes get together, like they can stop a whole region. They did.
Absolutely.
Last night. Like we had a travel ban.
Yeah. No, I believe it. You know what you need to do? You need to do the same thing that Chris is doing with the Eat, Walk, Learn, where she's just following 72 degrees all over the planet.
Yeah.
That's
oh, believe me, I'm going to be kind of in that. Yeah, I don't want to get really hot, and I don't want to get really cold unless it's a temporary thing, just because something attracted me there. That has to do with winter, but it's going to be if somebody else is wielding the snow shovel.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the most temperate climate in the United States is actually just a little bit north of LA. It's like Santa Maria, and that is ridiculously expensive. There's no possible way, I could move there, but tracking it around the world, that's the next best. Exactly.
And I think it's even better, because then you're never going to get bored.
Yeah. Plus, you'll be meeting and seeing all these people and places. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of it.
No, I'm really excited. My little 6-year-old, 7-year-old self is just like inside going.
I love it.
Because it wasn't even just National Geographic. It was Jacques Cousteau. It was Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
Yes, I remember that.
You remember it? that tells your age when you know Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom.
I still remember the theme song.
Yep. Yeah, Marvin Perkins, and who was the other guy? So yeah, like all that stuff. Like my little inner child right now is just like, thank God you finally are getting around to it.
Took you long enough, right?
Exactly.
Well, anyway, this has been great. Thank you so much. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
Well, you can either go on my Substack, which is The Frugal Traveler. Actually, right now, that's the only presence I have online as far as the thing's concerned. Find me on Substack. Send me a message if you're, have particular questions. I'm actually trying to figure out what it is that people need from me, from where I am in the journey, because most of the people I'm seeing are on the journey.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in this really nice little slot of about a year, where I'm in that part that they go back and reminisce about.
Yes.
But I'm in it. So it's like I'm trying to cover, the things that are going through my mind at the same time, and how I'm growing through this, and how little things like, stopping for a burger and actually not trying to eat it in my car like I normally do. I usually, just go through the drive-through, whatever, and eat. That it just like having that teaching me to slow down, because thankfully I did stop to eat it. I didn't, and it fell apart. And if it had been in the car, and it's like all these little things now that I'm starting to see are preparing me for this journey, of slow travel.
I love it. I love it. So I'll put all the links in the show notes so people can go
Yeah.
direct you. Thank you so much. It was great talking with you.
Thank you. Okay.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Same here. Bye-bye.
Oh, I'm living that nomad life, city to city, feeling alive. From mountain tops to ocean drives, unchained I thrive, I thrive.